My goodness. We are live. Oh my goodness, yes. I want to welcome you to Tuesday Tea Time with Dorarena. And I want to welcome all our first time viewers, those that uh, been watching the replay, and you are welcome here, okay? We are presented from Women of Wisdom. We are a nonprofit organization here to bridge the generational gap between the younger and the older generation to pass on vital knowledge to one another and to the next generation for the benefits of all generations. Okay, so we empower with practical wisdom and confidence. Okay, because we want you to follow after your dreams and we want you to walk in wisdom in your everyday affairs of life because that just changes how we do life and it will change the future for generations to come. Okay, so I'm telling you, tonight the sister is having a hair, what do they call it, a hair day or whatever. So I, little short, I I bought this, stuff for my hair, and I've been putting it in my hair, and I'm like, okay, is my hair trying to revert back to the natural? Because I do natural, but I flat iron it. Okay, so that's a little bit about me. So, anywho, we're gonna go right into how we normally do things, and I like to share with you my tea that I'm doing today, which is honey ginger, and I do have my honey with me, so I'm just gonna stick my honey in there. And I keep forgetting to let you know, I use raw honey. I usually don't buy the store bought honey, but you know what? I want to give a shout out to No Name Nutrition, okay? Because that's where I usually get my honey from, and very reasonable. So I do appreciate that. And right now, I know my son, I told you he's got a bee thing going on too, but he's working on it. So, anywho, I have my butterfly cup tonight, and some of you know about this butterfly cup. So, I hope that you have your beverages with you and you fill your cup up with lots of wisdom tonight. All right. Tea time. Mm. I forgot too, I added a little ginger honey pack in it. Kind of spice up that ginger taste to it. But listen, we are tonight, this topic that we have for tonight, I know that for some people this, you know, would be kind of difficult depending on, the things that you've had to deal with or you are dealing with. But I want you to know that, I've lived out this thing and I still have to live it out. And so, whatever is said is not to criticize you in any way or make light of your situation or anything like that. Just as I've said before, eat the hay and throw away the sticks. So, whatever doesn't apply to you, don't worry about it. Don't get offended about it because, a lot of times when we get offended about stuff, we no longer listen, we no longer receive, and it could be something said that is a door buster for us, that we've been stuck in something And the same person that we received the offense from could be the same person that could give us the answer. So just, be open minded about it, and just don't try not to carry your feelings on your shoulders. Because when you do that, anybody can come and, just knock that off, and boom, we're fleshing out. So our topic for tonight is the two paths of criticism. Okay. So first, let's look at what I have here for a definition for criticism. There are two definitions of criticism. One is an to assess or evaluate, and the other is to express disapproval based on perceived faults or mistakes. So basically, what we're going to talk about tonight is destructive criticism and constructive criticism. There is a instructive criticism, but we're not going to really talk about that tonight. Okay. So I want to share with you a quote that I found that I thought, oh, this is good. I got two quotes for you tonight because, um, I just couldn't see how I could leave the other one out. So here we go. This is by Michael Ivan Black. It says, your harshest critic is always going to be yourself. Don't ignore that critic, but don't give it more attention than it deserves. Okay, because we're good at criticizing ourselves, but we need to not, dwell so much or harp so much on the negative things that we do, because ourselves, we will, if we continue, we will put ourselves down and just, defeat our purpose of growth and development, because constructive criticism is for our growth and development. And really, to be honest with you, even when people criticize us, whether you're at school, a job, or, just anywhere, you really have to calm yourself down before you respond, so that you don't make things worse than what they already are. And you want to preserve your reputation, so there is growth in both destructive criticism and constructive criticism, because it's all about how we decide to handle the situation. We know that some people motives are wrong. We know that some people are just critics themselves. And that right there, if we know that that's the way they are, that automatically should help us know how to respond to things, because you got to evaluate that's being said and who is saying it. Because sometimes people that criticize us, they're speaking out of their own lack of confidence. They're speaking out of criticism that they have received from someone else, and they're just passing it on. So you just got to be careful about what is said and what comes before you, and learn how not to dwell on criticism itself, whether it's in your head or not, because we need to discover what's going on in our heads. We need to evaluate what we are saying and what we're doing. And the more that you know yourself, the better you will be able to handle situations like that, because you just won't, it's kind of like, just letting your thoughts just go rampant, just all over the place. If you know yourself, you are not going to let your thoughts just rampant all over the place, because you understand that the effects and the results that you will receive if you don't control and handle your thoughts. No one knows you better than you know yourself, except for the higher, the man, God himself, but you can't afford to just, and well, let me just put it like this. You need to find out, why are you criticizing yourself like that, your own self? Where did that come from? Evaluate and assess and see. That's good if you use criticism in that way, to just assess and evaluate the situation. Why is this going, why am I thinking like this? Why am I having trouble with this thought? And how come it just keeps coming back and it's like it's difficult to get rid of it? Dig deep and find out, why are you repetitively dealing with those thoughts, and why do you keep putting yourself down? Because it could be that something happened in your childhood and you pick that up from your parents or somewhere else, and now you have agreed to it, and now you're doing it to your own self. And if you are doing that, we're going to talk about next week some practical ways of learning how to think right and putting those um, positive thoughts into action. Okay, because you do need to do that. Okay, look at this. The passive criticism, we already touched on that. Destructive tears down, constructive builds together. It identifies the problem and offers solutions. So if people are criticizing you and tearing you down, and that's just the kind of relationship that you have with this person, that's toxic. That is a toxic criticism. And all you do all the time is hear some type of negative thing about you can't get this right, you don't do that right, you're not, in your head, I'm not good enough, and I'm always messing up, I'm always doing something. I mean, you know what? I know, because they used to go off in my head all the time, because I'm like, okay, now what? Now what did I do wrong? And it was hard for me to receive constructive criticism, because, I had so much criticism coming to me when someone had good intentions and they were giving me constructive criticism. I went to my default mode and I was like, okay, here we go. And that negativity, I'm telling you, it will stifle your growth. But if you can learn, I had to learn to not allow myself to get angry just because somebody, was criticizing me. The first thing you have to think of is, okay, is there any truth to what's being said? That right there will help you start assessing and evaluating your own self, because criticism can be used for improvement. It can be used for growth. But whether it's coming from inside our head or whether it's coming from outside, we need to know how to deal with it with wisdom and put it in the proper category, and not just think that this is normal. That is not normal. Toxic criticism is not normal. You should not have to live with someone constantly putting you down. And so, yeah, that's not, no, you don't have to deal with that. Okay, let me get through this real quick. Destructive criticism focuses on what you did wrong. The feedback points out your errors repeatedly, or makes remarks that could be derogatory, insulting, or mocking. So if you're dealing with that, you need a new friend, honey, because that friend mean you no good. And more than likely, there's some issues there that they're not dealing with, and they're trying to put them off on you. And if you don't assess and evaluate that, you will fall into that trap, and that's not good. Okay, this is from Warren W. Wiersbe, and it says the way we respond to criticism pretty much depends on the way that we respond to praise. If praise humbles us, then criticism will build us up. But if praise inflates us, then criticism will crush us. And both responses leads to our defeat. I saw that. I was like, oh my goodness, I have got to share that, because there is so much in that you can unpack, and just take the time to ponder on that and glean the wisdom out of what is being said about that. Well, my time is pretty much up, but I want to let you know that next week we're going to talk about maintaining our self-esteem and practical positive ways to deal with our self-critic. So I hope that you continue to walk in wisdom, and that your life blossoms into a beautiful flower that sends forth a fragrance that will cause other people to want to be around you. Okay? All right. So Dorarena loves you. And remember, as I always tell you, walk in wisdom. All right? You have a great night.